Hello and happy Saturday, Detroit. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of Beauty and the D right here on WJZZ Cool TV, the coolest station in the world. We are streaming live on all top social media platforms Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook. So, again, thank you for tuning in to Beauty and the D with host me, Stephanie Coney, where we focus on power, wealth, and style. So every week we have a great guest. So of course this week I'm not going to disappoint. We have another great guest this week as usual, and I'm going to lead with his bio. He has so much. I don't know if we're going to be able to fit all of his information into this one segment. But today here I have Mr. Corey Fowler, also known as Mr. REO. He is a licensed real estate investor, licensed agent, and REO specialist with nearly 2 decades of experience, starting with his first property purchase at the age of 22. From losing a flip to foreclosure to managing successful joint ventures, Corey has seen it all and used those experiences to fuel to okay, I don't know. My production is in here tripping.
Go ahead, put it where you need to
To
put it.
fuel a mission much bigger than himself. A proud sarcoidosis warrior, Corey was diagnosed with a rare neurological case in 2018. Doctors said he'd be in a wheelchair. However, within months, instead, he's walking in purpose, wearing purple to honor the fight and donating part of every real estate deal to sarcoidosis research. His real estate journey began at age 17 after his family lost everything in a house fire because they were renters. That moment sparked a lifelong drive to build generational wealth through homeownership. Today, Corey is the founder of End to End Properties, a real estate company focused on transforming communities and closing the Black wealth gap. He's doing deals across New Jersey, Detroit, Atlanta, and Florida, all while mentoring, advocating, and giving back. So, whether you call him Mr. REO or the investor's favorite agent, Corey brings unmatched insight, grit, and purpose to every conversation. So, thank you, welcome, thanks for being here. And again, welcome to Detroit.
Thank you, thank you. It's been much love since I got here. This city has just poured out love from every connection, so I'm glad to be here. I appreciate the opportunity.
I appreciate you for being here. And as we say in Detroit, what up, dog?
What up, though? I'm learning that one. What up, though?
What up, dog? So let's talk about before we go into your history. I want to talk about what has your experience been like being here in Detroit? You've been here since November.
Yeah, so it's been a great experience, actually. I was just saying quickly there was I've been meeting the right people. And obviously it's going to come out a lot. I'm God led first. So,
Hmm.
I've asked for that divine intervention each time. But I've actually been meeting the right people because I'm actually here because from a distance, I had the wrong people first.
Really?
They just didn't care about what the mission of the product was.
Hmm.
And so when I came, doing it from a distance, pictures, they looked a certain way. But when
Okay.
I got out here and touched it, like to tell me the that they resurfaced the bar and it was contact paper. So that's what brought me
Wow.
here. But and it was the best thing. And
Well, God makes no mistakes,
it
as
made
you said before.
at all, because even just for me personally, right? I'm so far away from those who may have over depended on me, and then I didn't, set the proper boundaries. Now I can. So it's been a great growth period for me to be just away. Again, the people that I have come in contact with and started working with have been great. Learning the city now that it's not so cold. Now I was used
Yeah.
to the cold, but it was a different cold. I would tell people New Jersey cold will hit you, and then as you continue to walk down the block, it kind of go away. Here, I can
Ah,
walk the whole block and back and
you
stay
taking that
cold.
cold with you.
So, but it has been a joy, and then to learn, I'm looking forward to the spring now. The weather's
Yes.
breaking to really get out and explore more,
Yeah.
and learn the history of the city, the history of my people,
Yeah.
and continue to grow.
You're gonna have a good time as the winter. You made it through the winter.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna have a great time as the winter go as it dissipates and
Yes.
fall into spring and especially in the summer. We have a lot of stuff going on in the summer. And I always like talking to people who are not from Detroit, who have migrated here, and just to see what their experiences have been like, because we don't always get a good rep here in the
Right.
city of Detroit.
Right.
So, it's really refreshing, to hear your positive spin on how you enjoy my city.
That's great. Yeah, it's been
Yeah.
treating me good. I don't know about y'all red lights. Y'all don't.
Uh,
That don't mean stop here. People go around me like, wait, what? But yeah,
yeah, so you're gonna have to get, hey, listen, if you can deal with Atlanta traffic,
yeah,
okay,
yeah.
you can certainly deal with Detroit traffic.
Right.
So tell me, what exactly brought you here? How did you get here to say, what made you just like, was it any, mini, miny, mo? Okay, Michigan, and then specifically Detroit.
Well, it's Detroit was is a bit of research,
Hmm.
looking for a market like my home market used to be. So pre-COVID,
And when you say your home market, we are talking about Jersey,
yeah,
right?
we're talking
Okay.
Trenton, New Jersey. So I'm
Okay.
from Trenton, New Jersey. And pre-COVID, the price point that you could pick up a property, rehab, and then sell for, that's what you still have here.
Hmm.
Also, what I realized with thinking about my home market and why Detroit is partly mission based for me is I watched the black families sell off and didn't know what to do with Big Mama's house from
Hmm.
Trenton and just continue to sell off their basically generational wealth uh, because they didn't understand. So part of becoming here is seeing that happen, right? You look at you research how many billions of wealth has been generated over this last couple of years just in the fact that the property values are starting to rise here again.
Yeah.
I don't want to see our community get pushed out of that dollar, right? I don't wholesale. Nothing against my wholesalers.
Okay.
I use them for the resource, but I don't like what is that? The sky is falling, right? To get the right deal, to get a better deal, you got to tell people sky is falling.
Hmm.
So that's what I watched happen back home. People would tell people, "Oh, the basement is going to cost 40,000." No, it was only going to cost four, right? Or you
Wow.
didn't need to do the entire thing; you just needed to do this wall. And so that's what kind of brought me here. And then also growing onto the development side, if you look at, I was an engineer for the power company back home, and I used to deal mostly with buried underground distribution. And what I'd seen with that, even before getting into the development piece, is there's a lot of work that happens before you see the house go up.
Uh-huh.
And with what the history that I've seen with Detroit is, they by you leveled a lot of stuff. You didn't dig up the stuff. So those costs that a developer would have to put out to do the underground stuff, most of that is still there. So these blocks that I see that are, leveled, I know the infrastructure is underground. No one takes that out. So
Hmm.
as long as the street can be, paper street can be put back, you know that the infrastructure is there. So you're able to, I feel you'll be able to grow a lot faster. So that's part of the reason. So I knew there's a place where I could grow. Um, Again, we said in my bio that a big part of what I want to do is make sure the black wealth gap. So to make sure people didn't lose that, I feel like I could make a difference here, and that's my goal.
So, how often have you visited or traveled to Detroit prior to, jumping in and saying, hey, this is
Uh,
what I want to do?
Not at all.
Are you serious?
No, my
I
first,
didn't know that. And we
my
converse
first,
a lot,
yeah,
didn't know that.
yeah, my first trip here was to follow up on a project that I bought sight unseen.
Sight unseen. And so, what was that experience like?
It was. Let me see the best way to put it. I mean, it's been a journey. I mean, that's what got me here.
Okay.
I know, and anybody who's looking at like investing long distance,
Hmm.
you have to ask the right questions if you're going to do that, right?
So,
Not
it was
like
a learning lesson,
yeah, it was a
I'm
learning lesson.
guessing.
Yeah, definitely a learning
Okay.
lesson. I didn't have the right like the pictures. Again, pictures can be taken in a way to manipulate the data, right? If I take a picture right here this way, and this house over
From
here,
this angle, yeah.
yeah, you can't tell that the house over here is torn down
Okay.
or fallen down. So I purchased a property and I immediately had to purchase one next to it because once I got here, it's like, well, how do I fix this one up to sell
Yeah.
when this one is falling apart.
Wow. Okay.
Hope that
So
answers your question.
so then after you did that project, was that a flip?
Yeah,
Rent?
these are all
Okay.
flips. Yeah,
So both of them were flips.
yeah.
So how many flips have you done since you've been here?
We're currently into number 10 at this point.
Number 10.
Oh, yeah,
Congratulations.
10 under contract, so 7 closed, and then 3 more coming in the next 2 weeks. So
So we in
thank you.
double
Yes,
digits.
yeah, yeah.
Yes.
Yep, since November.
Congratulations.
Since
Okay.
November. Yep.
So what do you see where do you see yourself as far as the future of investing in Detroit? Because you're helping other investors too, right?
Correct.
Okay.
That my goal is to be. Let's see. I never asked that question. Let me give it a second. Think of how to answer that clearly. I look to be of impact. I look to start to work with the local community level. To the point where I would love. One of the things I like doing is like giving those who can't afford new construction feel. So like if you come in the project early enough and you're willing to put a deposit on the house,
Mhm.
I'll let you pick the finishes. I'll let you, that not in front of the deposit, right? Because I don't want you to change your mind.
Right.
But those type of things. So I'm hoping that I'm able to, leave a legacy here as Mr. REO.
Okay. Into Ian Properties.
Yes.
Yeah.
Anything real estate related, we want in. That's why I got it.
Gotcha.
And it's actually got a couple different meanings. So the first used to be the symbol was two larger ends because
Okay.
in anything, right, is your net worth is equal to your net worth. So
Absolutely.
that was a big
Absolutely.
piece of it in as well. So there's
Yeah.
a couple views and everything that I do with the REO
Okay.
agent, Mr. Real Estate Opportunities. I like to bring people together. So I'm always, and people say, oh, you're a Gemini. You can't have one meeting for anything. Maybe not.
So a lot of subliminal
Yeah,
messages
yeah,
going
yeah,
on
yeah,
there.
yeah.
So how did you acquire the name Mr. REO?
It's actually at one of the real estate conferences. It just kind of came out.
Which
It
real
was,
estate conference?
let's see, 2013. So 2013, Armando Montalano is one of the first fix and flip shows out of Vegas.
Okay.
I've been part of that community since 2013. So actually, the name came around 2016, 2017. Can't remember the exact year. But again, I was looking to, as far as getting my license as a
Mhm.
real estate agent, I knew I didn't want to do the day to day. People who can go into a house and can't get past the color of the kitchen. I had dealt with that. The
Okay.
kitchen's yellow. I really don't like. I love the house, but the kitchen's yellow. I didn't want to deal with that.
Like, come on, it's just a can of paint.
Exactly. So, but I understood, being an engineer by trade as well, banks are about numbers. Investing is about numbers, so it can be calculated. And so I started looking to build that piece, and then not understanding, I was actually quote unquote wholesaling before. I like bringing people together.
Okay.
So in that case, it's like you brought me this opportunity. You brought me this opportunity, and then actually that piece stuck when someone's like, "What do you mean you not?" At one point I was doubting self.
Uh-huh.
I was like, "Wait, all these opportunities you brought to the table?" And
Yeah, all these people you're connecting.
yeah, so
Yeah,
it stuck on that side too.
yeah.
So,
You're like, no, let me connect
yeah,
myself.
exactly.
So, were you a licensed real estate agent prior to becoming an investor?
No.
Oh, so you did it in reverse.
I did it in reverse. Yeah.
Okay.
So 22 bought, fix, lost to foreclosure all before 27. I seen a gap,
Okay.
right? So I'm thinking if we really say it in business and all the products we have, right? It's always fixing a gap. If you fix a gap, you get paid for it.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, that's where the tagline "Investors Favor Agent" first came from.
Okay.
Was I understood that investors want different stuff than the consumer. And I was running into agents that really just know how to work with the consumer.
Consumer.
So you would think that I'm asking you for a lot for no reason. Like I would used to ask for, and first I would ask for a list of 30 days, then 60 days, then I would
Mhm.
want 180 days because I'm trying to create a graph, to know where to be. And so I would have a lot of agents in the beginning. It's like, hey, I'm doing all this for you, and you're not making any offers. So I said, okay, I get it. The upfront part of that, if they don't understand working with an investor, they quit halfway through. So I know what gap I'll fill. I'll get my license for myself, get a create another paycheck, but then I
Yeah,
also could work, market myself just for investors
because you know what they want
and know what they want. And
and
then
you
I
understand their bottom line.
exactly,
Yeah,
exactly.
makes a lot of sense. So, do you have any investment properties in New Jersey as well?
Uh, currently, well, one, but we're going to look to sell it. One sarcoidosis challenge. That's what kept me afloat. Having real estate, able to sell off and take care of bills and all that. I wasn't ever a person that overextended,
Okay.
but I did have a nice salary from my full time prior to. So I did have some toys and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then with the health situation, I was able to the rental any rental properties I was part of, do the cash in to be able to keep myself afloat because that was a big 7 year journey. Right?
Wow.
I stopped last. It was October of 2018 was the last time I quote unquote went to work.
Okay. So, did you just quit and say, you know
I know
what,
I got put on permanent disability. So
permanent
when I got
disability?
diagnosed with sarcoidosis, at that time I was powerlifting and all that stuff. So I was always fatigued because me and my boy we would work out first thing in the morning, squatting 200, 300, 400 pounds. So it was like I expected my body to feel a certain way,
Mm-hmm.
and I never looked at it as anything wrong until something actually happened in the gym. I had an accident, and then we started doing the research because it was like, well, you healed well, but why you still don't feel?
Mm-hmm.
And that's when we found out. And it's like very close. They were saying that if I didn't find out at that time, it you know I could have been lying because I have it. It's basically attacks a lot of your body, right? So there's some in the eye. I have some heart involvement. Most of mine is on the spinal cord. That's why they were saying, you know, um, they didn't think within 3 months I would be walking. So,
Wow.
and I knew when my mother was there, I was like, hey, listen, I know my rule, I know my rights. You don't tell that woman that because you'll break her. It's not going to break me. I got too much to do.
Yeah.
I don't know where that, God was the only one who said that, right?
Yeah.
I said, I got too much to do, so I'm not worried about that piece.
Yeah.
Um, and so, yeah, it caused me to have to slow down and look at life a lot different. So that's why I try to make the best of each and every day.
Wow. I feel like you got a book in you.
Yeah, that's what somebody told me. They told me to write where I
You
started.
know, your story is very inspirational, motivating as well, but more inspirational because we always talk about having faith and unshakable faith. This was unshakable faith. You're in a hospital bed and they're telling you, you had a high valued position, engineer for the power company, and they're telling you, look, young man, hey, it's not a wrap, but life as you know it,
Right.
it's going to be different for you. And you're sitting there with the faith and the strength to say, no, it's not. Wow, very inspiring.
Thank you. Thank you.
So, you're like you said, you're permanently disabled, and you made a life with the real estate, and it's clearly been good for you.
Yes, yes.
Okay, so why Atlanta? That's one of my, I used to live there, so that's like my second home, one of my favorite places. Why Atlanta? What made you choose Atlanta?
I'm always going to stay around us, right? So
Okay.
that's part of it. But what I realized with the Atlanta market is, all these shows, six-figure flips, right? We're doing one now, uh, and the numbers on it currently, if the market is starting to shift, but what it started out would have been a nice. It's a pretty hefty six-figure flip there, right? So the Atlanta market, what it allows me to do is it allows me to do the luxury stuff, get
Okay.
very fancy, um, and and receive bigger returns, right? So
Okay.
what I've noticed, market to market is, especially for us fix and flippers or developers, right? You have to do the work for your end client and for end customer, and what you will see, and sorry, my Atlanta family and friends, there's a bit of that. I need to pay this much in
Oh,
Atlanta.
sticker
Right.
price.
Yeah, it's a let me show you what I did.
Uh-huh.
And then again, you got to think about who are their stars and all of that. So there
Yeah.
is this
Yeah.
that piece. You see it a little bit in DC as well.
Okay.
So I realized there I could go in and take higher end properties like 900,000, put in the 200,000, and then sell it at 1.5 and above. So
So is there, let me ask you that, not to cut you off, but let
but
me ask you this. When we're talking about the luxury high-end properties in Atlanta, is there really enough room in there to make money once you purchase it and you put
yes,
on?
there's a lot. So again, there. So let me see how to say this. What I'm saying about Atlanta is that clientele, they could do it themselves, but they don't want to.
Hmm.
Right. So all I'm doing, like the project I'm talking about, and I think it's on my social media a little bit, Druid Hills. Is,
Okay, I'm familiar with Joy Hills.
so that area, that that money usually comes in and stays. I'm
Hmm.
just going in there and buying a house that's been lived in for years, and now opening it up and making it look different, look new to the next round of people that are going to purchase and kind of stay there.
Hmm.
So that project we purchased at 890, and we're
890.
890. We're in 200. The rehab budget on there is about two, and of course, so say 250. So we're at 1.1, 1.2. Say 1.2, and our list price is 1.8
Okay,
in a matter of 6 months.
got you.
So
So there is.
yeah, there is some upside.
You've answered the question. Yeah.
And I'm not, just so I know people calculating. I'm not the only partner.
Right.
Don't
Right.
come in and ask me to hold everything.
All right. All right.
But it's a group. And that's the thing I like to do is one of my phrases I like to say is part of something is better than 100% of nothing.
Yeah. My father used to say that too. He would say, "Am money is better than now money."
Yeah, yeah, 100. Yeah, that's I said it wrong. 100% of something is better than part of something is better than 100% of nothing.
Exactly.
And then so some deals I've been on where I was operating to learn.
Right.
Right? 'Cause
Yeah. It's to
that way,
master your craft.
exactly. You may not want to teach me how to fish, but if I offer my time and being from an electrical background, right, I understood apprenticeship.
Hmm.
So if I offer
Hmm.
you my time, and if I offer you my time and know that my return isn't going to be dollars and cents in my account this time, but I did get the knowledge to make it for myself in the future.
Hmm.
So sometimes it's fun, like as I'm getting into development, I'm looking to help someone go through a
Yeah.
project.
Well, most of us true entrepreneurs, that's the way that we think
Mm-hmm.
because it's at the end of the day, it is about, paying your dues.
Right.
You got to pay some dues. You got to put some skin in the game.
Exactly.
You know,
Exactly.
yeah, you just can't go and see. That's how we know, Corey, that you're passionate about what you're doing because you're not just going in there trying to, see what you can pull out,
Yeah.
grab a buck. You want to make sure that, like here in Detroit, that the comps and everything is stable, so that people can have at the end of the day in Detroit affordable housing. In Atlanta, not so much
Right.
affordable housing.
Well, that's not just not the market. It's there. You can
Yeah.
do it there too. It's just I'm looking at that as a different market, right? There's
Okay.
different pieces.
So let's be real. The amount of time that you put like into restoring and rehabbing a property in Detroit, right? Is that probably the same amount of time and energy that you put into
Exactly.
rehabbing a property in Atlanta? It's just that the price margins are
Yeah. So I think
bigger.
what changes is, and I think it was said to me by a mentor early, and I
Hmm.
didn't believe it until I did it, right?
Hmm.
Because at first, especially now I'm speaking to people who are just starting, is you're looking at the risk, and at least if you were like me, what can I afford to lose, right?
Hmm.
And maybe it's not the best way to start off, but that's the way I would look at things. Um, but when you look at the steps, if you get very systematic, like my goal out here is to create a system that I myself and other investors that trust me can utilize here. But once it's the same thing. The houses are the same, and I either am outside in, top down sometimes,
Hmm.
and then other times it's a blow up where it's demo out and then come back in together. I like to call that either top down or squeeze. In
Hmm.
my head is the way I look at it when I say squeeze, because once I take everything out. I'm bringing it back to this level that the buyer, the consumer wants. Um, but yeah, it's all that ramble to say, yes, it's the same amount of energy. Now the stress level is different, right? So again, I'm a numbers person, so I know my typical Detroit projects, they are costing me somewhere around $75 a day, right? Holding costs.
Okay.
The Atlanta projects, the New Jersey projects are about 2 to 300. My Atlanta projects are somewhere around $600 to $700 a day, right? Because the whole year, right? I'm doing my math right. 8 grand a month holding costs divided by 30, so forth.
Come on, Mr.
Yeah,
Engineer.
yeah. My math is on the spot, and I'm thinking about it. Just made me think about a bunch of numbers. But I have had, I put it like this: I've had projects where I know for sure on my board at home, in the office, it shows like this one per day, right? So
Okay.
I know that, and then where I'm getting with that is the that sometimes becomes the stressor. Is okay, well, I can't afford this not to go right, and then
Yeah, that could be stressful.
yeah, and then it's
Then don't
just
let somebody not show up for that day
exactly
to put the plumbing in or whatever it
right.
is.
And that's when you make your contract solid, right? You got to make your contracts ironclad. I put in my contracts, right, from the holding cost perspective. My contractors, currently dealing with, got to have a meeting on Monday with one here,
Okay.
right? Is hey, it says clearly this is the holding cost per day. I give a buffer of 2 weeks, the 14 days. There's a 14-day buffer usually in the contract, but then after that is okay, price per day. You're the one who didn't deliver.
Right.
So if there was any hold up on my side, we can make sure that was noted.
Mm-hmm.
So that piece, you look to push that out to someone else, at least in my process.
So, who is your ideal? Like you said, you work with investors. Who is your ideal client to work with?
As an investor,
Yeah.
um, now wait, let me be clear on the question. Are they investing as just the money side, or are they an active? They want to hold. They want to be active in the project.
Well, see, I don't know.
Okay,
So, who do like? Who's your ideal target client? Like, who of those do you work with? And after you answer that, how can they contact you?
got it. So my ideal, I would say, would be the person who's willing to be the not silent, because I need you to protect your money and we can have the update, but the person who's looking to put their money into the market, allow me or the team to manage and grow those through fix and flip, and then looking to, as long as we're successful, continue to leave those dollars in the market, right? Because I can pay the bank I can pay the bank 15% or whatever they charge,
Mm-hmm.
or I could pay someone who has the disposable income on the side to do so. And then, like I said, I like to do. Well, I didn't say it yet, but I do a post check, what I call a post check. I post check the guys daily, but then as far as my investors, it's a once a week thing.
Okay.
I even have some software where all the data is always there,
So they can always
you have
see.
a clear picture of what's going
Yeah.
on. And I don't. I also know. So the one person I don't like is the one that wants to mix and commingle money. Don't do that. That gets a little confusing at the end. But
Okay. So you've got this down to a system.
that's my whole point. That's if you systemize it, it makes it easier. You can grow it if you systemize it.
So, how can they contact you?
I'm with Corey Fowler, Mr. Rio on Instagram. My email is cfowler at endtoendproperties.com. So that's my business name, Endtoend, word properties spelled out, properties.com. And my cell phone, the business line is 609-8555-REO or 609-855-5736.
So, what does your team look like? What does your team consist of?
My team, you need reliable, reliable contractors.
Can't say that enough.
Yeah, you can keep saying it, and the GC may not always be your contractor. So I got a partner back home, EW. Sometimes I will call him to more manage something, just hey, could you go double check that the
Mm-hmm.
quality is there? When I'm doing long distance, I have a investor friendly home inspector,
Okay.
right? So it helps ease the loads of stress as well because I let them be the bad guy, right? When they go and look and say, that's not going to pass later. Don't get mad at me when I say you need to go back and do that. Hey,
Mm-hmm.
that's the professional. That's the subject matter expert that's going to have to check this house later anyway.
Mm-hmm.
He's saying that won't pass. You need your CPAs. You need everybody, right?
Mm-hmm.
You either you can either run like a true business or you can run like a mom and pop.
Okay.
Mom and pop, you're going to do all the pieces yourself and bookkeeping,
Yeah.
all that. Or you need to learn to budget that out and have the tax person, the CPA,
Mm-hmm.
or and as far as the trades, you need at least three,
Yeah.
minimum three. It's a conversation we had offline here, right? Is someone else is getting some plumbing work done. Maybe you can chime in and come together and leverage that person. Say, hey, listen, this person's looking for some stuff too. So
Mm-hmm.
that's how I get my people in. And then you need to, um, with your team, you have to understand, like in sports, there's freshman, JV, and varsity.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's not your varsity player, and it's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay that they're not your varsity player because hey, you put them on the job on that on the job where you need that level,
Mm-hmm.
and then there may be some that smaller jobs. Not saying you're lowering your quality. Please, people, don't take that wrong.
Yeah.
My motto is I got three sisters that when I finish any project, three sisters and a mother. If I finish any project, they can be handed those keys and I have no worries. So regardless if it's done by the freshman team, the JV team, or
It's
the
done.
varsity
Yeah.
team, the quality needs to be the same. I'm just saying that tile work, just that tile work in Atlanta is a little different than the tile work here in Detroit.
Mm-hmm.
And even here in the Detroit, Michigan market, as I move out maybe more in the suburbs and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
it'll just be different. So
Okay.
so you need all your tradesmen and women. You need all of them, but you also need to know the tiers because the varsity is going to charge you more.
Right.
And on a smaller project where you're looking to turn it around quick, first time home buyer type product, again quality,
Mm-hmm.
but you're looking to turn it around, you can't. This person that just charges this number because they know that they're worth that number, they may not be the one for that project.
Gotcha.
And you got to know how to move those around.
Yep. Move the pieces around.
Yeah.
So the 10 projects that you're working on currently in the city of Detroit, they're already invested up. They're already
Yes.
ready to go and
Yeah.
probably scouting out your next project.
Yes.
Okay. So Florida.
Yeah.
We talked a little bit about that
Yeah.
offline.
Yeah.
That was the most interesting of the two.
Okay.
Florida. How did you even end up investing in Florida?
It's interesting. Florida is based on hurricane. So
That's what made the story so interesting.
So that's what we get right into it. So I hurricane chase. So while I'm sitting here thinking in my thoughts is again, it takes me back to my utility time frame where we used to do mutual aid and we would go from New Jersey down to Florida. And I'm always looking at like, okay, in this fix and flip business and this real estate business, what you're really just doing is taking something bad and making it good again if you're not developing and building ground up. So with Florida, what we do or what I do is a hurricane chase.
Okay.
After a hurricane, same as fires, same thing, but any of those disasters where there's an insurance check, many times people don't have the time, the energy, or the know-how to take that insurance check and get the house back to where they want.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a way to either buy them out of the check or buy the property.
Really?
Yeah.
You can buy them out of the check.
Well, basically, it's before I know we don't have a lot of time, but to give a basic idea, it would be kind of like the insurance company gives you a check for $100,000.
Okay.
Per se, right? But it's going to cost you more than that to redo the house
Mm-hmm.
all the way to where it is. So I may come in and say, listen, I know you're ready to move on, blah, blah, blah. I would purchase the check. Now, at a discount, I might give you 80 for it, but it's 80 cash right here. You get to move on and do whatever you need to do. And that, and again, the numbers aren't exact. I'm just
Mm-hmm.
giving a scenario.
Okay.
So, and then that way you now have, in essence, you now have the right. So basically, am I buying the check exactly? No, but I'm buying the interest to the house.
Got you.
And then I'm giving them the cash because a lot of times those insurance checks are uh, as work complete. Like you can, it all depends on how the insurance was set up. But to give a just overhaul of that, it's just
What about the note?
so you are, and that's okay. I'm sorry. Yeah. So let me get my thoughts there. I was
I'll
trying
take your time.
yeah. So yes, you're buying. So the insurance is here, and the house. So yeah, so part of that is the ones I'm looking at are people that are very low, or like have a lot more equity,
Mm-hmm.
and also or paid off in full. So we're going in. We are buying the if there is a note, that those numbers have to make sense. So we're buying the note and the check. I'm sorry, I did skip that step.
Okay.
So yes, it's the whole purchase of the home, what I'm going after because you're kind of done. You just want to move on. You don't want to pay the bank off, right? And the insurance check may not be the full
Mm-hmm.
coverage of that. Those things happen, and so coming in and filling that gap again. I think I said earlier. Once you fill it, if you fix a problem, you
Yeah.
can make money in the process.
Got you. So what do these people typically do? They just go on about their bid, take their little 20,000, just
But
for the
yeah,
sake of conversation.
so no, it's actually what's interesting is was it last year? Yeah, I think it's last year's project
Mm-hmm.
where the buyer was actually the person who we made the deal with. So he was just done, and one thing came back and looked at the property and was like, "I'm gonna buy my house back." So
Wow.
yeah, so that's a great. I mean, it's a great turnaround. But yes, for the most part, just like any sale or whatever, you're selling. It's all in the contract, and then they get their piece, they move on, they get to continue their life, get the kids back in school, all of
Yeah.
that stuff.
Because I can only imagine, because we don't have major natural disasters
Right.
like that here, what it's like to have to rebuild and pick back up, like you said, put the kids back in school
Right.
and get back to work and get back into the groove of things, you
Right.
know.
And I think that's the reason we kind of got into that. And I learned that through one of my, obviously always looking for education.
Hmm.
One of the disaster seminars that I was part of, but it makes sense. It helps people move on. This isn't what they do, right? If I'm an accountant, now you're telling me I need to GC my house being rebuilt if the check's not big enough to just give it to somebody and say, rebuild my house. It's enough to cover you rebuilding my house and put me over an extended stay for 6 months. And then who says that it's going to finish in time? You can't, you're able to help someone out in that process.
Mm. Wow. Okay. And make some money too.
Yeah. We're not all charity. I donate. And I donate.
Right, but we not working for free.
We're not working for free.
Okay, so Florida, any particular area in Florida that you go to? I mean,
It's
I know you
really,
said Hurricane Chase.
yeah, so it's really that. It's not really a particular area. You know, the good part about the natural disaster areas is those contractors have been through it, right?
So they know.
They know exactly
Yeah.
what needs to be. Again, it's still a trust thing. You
They
gotta
know what
vet
the
people.
insurance company is
Yeah,
looking for.
been
Yeah.
able to work with them better. So they that would be your key. I would say is the people, but it's Treasure Island is where the project is right now.
Okay.
And that was hit by what was that hurricane back in the end of last year, where everybody in South Carolina was like flooded. Literally,
Mhm.
like that one took out a whole lot of additional areas. So
And you mentioned something while we were offline that was, interesting to me, when we're talking about hurricane chasing, is that typically the storm doesn't hit the same place
yeah,
twice. So,
Right, right. So if you look at the data pieces, right? Yeah, yes, there's hurricane season in the same
Okay.
place, but the eye, right?
Uh-huh.
Even all those models they show you, they never really know where it's going. So the place that usually gets the place that got the bad damage this year, you can, you can't promise it, but
Right.
most
Nobody can.
likely
Yeah.
it's not going to be the same. The storm doesn't follow the same street every time.
Right.
So you may, this investment we're doing now, when we sell it, hopefully that never happens again exactly there, but
Yeah.
it would probably, I would say it's probably a few years before that
Okay.
exact area is
Yeah.
hit again. But that piece I really don't know how to control. And I
Well,
don't want,
nobody can. We
and
not God.
and I plan to be out of there before it does come back. If I'm
Right.
there next hurricane season, we did something wrong.
Gotcha. So, where do you see yourself, like, as far as since you're doing all these projects in multiple states, where do you see yourself actually just like honing in and settling? You like it here in Detroit?
I do. I do.
Okay.
I do. I do like it here. Like I said, I came in the winter to say if I can experience the winter and make it through
And
this.
still love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, this
So
might be the place for you.
exactly. And then you guys, I'm seeing some stuff pop up on social media. I always wanted a boat, and you got. I guess there's something that goes on in a week or next weekend about on the lake or something.
Okay.
So, but yeah, I like up here. I mean, the people have been great. Um, but yeah, as far as being 100% of where I'm at, I don't know. I don't know. I
That
like my
remains to be seen.
yeah. This area has been the most freeing in a way because of I was saying to you earlier, not having really any support. So there's a lot of finding self here, right? And not being able to be relied on, or even where I want to step in and help, I'm too far away.
Yeah.
So some people may have to fix their own problems that would have been able to lean on me before.
Hmm.
Atlanta, I have a lot of family down in the Georgia area, so it
Okay.
would be easy to go down and get adjusted and get introduced in the social life piece,
Oh yeah,
and the business piece as
I
well.
love Atlanta.
I mean, Jersey's back home,
Yeah.
so I know that my friends, my best friends, my family, they're there. Uh, I ain't never been on the east, on the West Coast, so I don't know. And I again, my journey with sarcoidosis has created this openness for me.
Yeah.
So like, it's really at this point, I'm thankful for where I am right now because I really have just gotten to this level of really being able to move around in the last 2 years.
Okay. Is that because of the
Yeah.
sickness? So, did it have you affected your mobility?
Yeah. So sarcoidosis, if you want to talk a little bit about that, it's autoimmune, a lot like, you know, I say it's deductive reasoning. I used to do a thing on my social media called I would call it Sarcoidosis Sunday, where I just everything I learned about it with me, I would share.
Hmm.
Um, but it's close to lupus. It was going up my spine, traveling up my spine, and they're like, well, once it gets to your head, it'll leave lesions like MS. So I'm like, well,
Really?
is it MS? Then I like, so the classification of it. And then one interesting thing about it here is I've heard more, like when I mention it, more people know about it in Detroit. So now it has me inquiring, um, is it because of cold air weather that people, because it's pulmonary, a lot of people have it pulmonary. There's people who had sarcoidosis that they don't know they had sarcoidosis until later in life.
Is that what Bernie Mac had?
Yes.
Okay.
And most people have it, uh, have had, those who've had it don't know they had a pulmonary. And if that person, if you ever known or know someone like this where they just have this little cough, that not really smokers, they may or may not be, but most of them aren't smokers, but they just constantly have this cough. It's not a bad one. It's just always there. Like
Hmm.
and they'll like many people say, oh, the allergies. No, go ask some questions because it's just constant. And then it can go away on its own. It'll go into what they call remission. But what it does is it leaves scar tissue.
Mm.
So when you have episodes like pulmonary, or like I said, I have some on the heart, some on the liver. So that scar tissue is not, you never get that back. So like when people, the lung part, you lose, if you have an episode, you lose that lung capacity, right? So when I do the breath test, I have 96% of my lung capacity right now. I I don't have the full 100, right, or whatever.
Uh-huh.
And then if you, the reason it, the reason that I understand it to be the most fatal for us in the black and brown community, people, a lot of people say it's testing, but when I really just pay attention, the Caucasian in white America, they get the dermatology piece. So something in our melanin keeps it from showing on our skin
Okay.
for the most part. Not saying that all, we do have cases where it does show,
Yeah.
but that piece, if you see something on your skin, you start to ask questions and dig
Mhm.
deeper because it's not going away from dermatology treatment. And then they find out, oh yeah, they have sarcoidosis, and then go deeper. So something in our makeup makes it
Yeah.
not always come to the surface. So we
Okay.
deal with internal stuff that we ignore. Like just going back to my case, speaking of allergies, when I found out um, about the sarcoidosis, when it was first brought to me, the doctor said it. I went home and researched, and I realized I keep pointing at my eyes because my eyes had been hurting, and I thought it was allergy. And I was like, I could really tell if I was looking left or right. And then I called the eye doctor and I said, hey, I was told from the pulmonologist that I have sarcoidosis. And I said, I've been dealing with my eyes. I realized this, came in the next day. He said, I'm glad you came. You had so much pressure built up that if you would hit your eye in your sleep or whatever, there could have been a rupture. And not the way it would rupture, they wouldn't have been able to fix it. So I just went blind in my
Oh
eye.
my
So
goodness.
if the timing,
God's
yeah,
timing.
yeah, for
Oh
sure,
man,
for
you
sure.
certainly have God on your side.
Yes.
Yes, you do. I told you this time goes by
Oh yeah,
fast. We
wow.
got like 3 minutes. So you also told me that you do like mentoring and educating and advocating. Real quick, can you talk about what type of mentoring that you offer
Well,
and to who?
back home it was started working in a group home. Actually, that's where I met my best friend. And we looked to do a program eventually back home in Jersey. But it just, I feel like the younger generation, the next generation needs that guidance. And when we were in a group home, they used to bring in these high level people, and I'm like, hey, they need to start bringing in people. Some of these kids are in a bad spot. They just need to know that they don't. You keep bringing in all these college educated, and none of them see themselves going to college. It wasn't hitting. So then I started trying to bring in the barbers and the realtors, people that they could
Yes.
go out and see
Relate
that,
to and see
right,
that it's attainable.
right. I don't have
Yeah.
to go to this big school to get
Yeah.
this. So,
College is not for everybody.
and then I've been asked. I think once I need to get over this either humility or whatever it is. But I've been asked to help several times. People like, hey, can you mentor me? Can I shadow you? And then I don't want to. I never want to. You see how I stop a lot of times to get my words right. I don't want to steer anybody wrong. So I
Yeah.
have not really taken anybody up on that. And I got 3 people right now. Like, oh, you're my mentor. I'm like, what? But I'm grateful, and I know that I need to focus on getting that together. And I thank you for doing this. This is my first ever sit across podcast, I think.
Oh,
So
thank you.
thank you. It allowed me to realize that my story needs to be shared
Yeah.
from the health side to the business side. And
Yes.
then I need to if I'm this systematic, if I systemize it, it will help other people.
Yeah.
So if I'm going to speak out saying that I want to continue to bridge the black wealth gap, this may be, this me teaching may be another way to do so, not just
Yeah.
trying to do it by selling you something
Hmm.
at a better value so you automatically have equity because you could throw that away.
Because
Education, you can't
not
do that.
only are you systematic, but you are just engulfed in faith. And I could just feel your good energy from across the table.
Thank you. You
Yeah.
sending it back. You sending it back.
Thank you. Thank you. So we got 1 minute. Once again, how can people contact you and what do you want them to know about Mr. REO before we go?
Okay. Again, social media, Corey Fowler, Mr.REO on IG, and I show it all the TikTok and all that. I'm Corey Fowler on Facebook if you go that way. 609-855-5736, 609-8555 REO. And if anything, just push. I mean, life is not always, this too shall pass, right?
Mm.
Life is not always going to give you what you want, but if you have a desire to get to the next level, you just keep pushing, and then part of something is better than 100% of nothing. So
Amen.
so go out and get a piece of it instead of not doing anything at all.
Thank you again, Corey, for
Thank
being
you.
here. Well said. You educated me today. I learned a lot.
All right.
I learned about sarcoidosis. I learned about you some more.
Yeah.
So thank you for sharing, and thank you, Detroit, for tuning in again to another episode of Beauty and the D. I am so thankful and so humbled for those of you that tune in every Saturday as we discuss power, wealth, and style. We always have great guests. Today, Mr. Corey Fowler, aka Mr. REO, did not disappoint. He came and brought great energy, great education, great resources. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you again next week at Beauty and the D with me as your host on WJZZ Cool TV, the coolest station in the world. Take care and